High performers are no longer designing their lives around hustle. They're designing around capacity. And if you want 2026 to feel different, this shift is essential. So, for a long time, we were taught that success meant just do more, like do as much as you can and push harder and just stay busy. And for a while, that worked for us. But here's exactly what I'm seeing now, especially with high performing women. Hustle eventually stops working, not because we are not capable of doing it, but because our lives, responsibilities, and our seasons change. What if 2026 doesn't require you to do more, but to finally build a plan that supports your energy, your priorities, and your personal life? That's the question I want you to sit with today. So here's why the hustle culture does not work for us. Hustle ignores capacity. It ignores the season of life that you're in. So if you're a busy mom and you have young kids running around and you just keep hustling, you're going to keep draining yourself further and further and further. Your emotional and mental load cannot handle hustle 24/7. Your physical energy is depleted and your relationships suffer massively. And when hustle is the only strategy that you're using, burnout becomes the cost. That's basically what is going to be at the forefront of what you are experiencing on a daily basis. Now, when you're doing a capacity based approach, what you're basically saying is that you can still be ambitious. Like, there's no wrongdoing in wanting to be ambitious, wanting to be motivating, wanting to get things done, focusing on growth, but you don't have to sacrifice your peace to do that. We don't have to suffer and sacrifice our peace and contentment just to do more every single day. So it's not about lowering standards, but it's about raising self-leadership. So I'm going to talk to you about what capacity really means. So mental capacity helps us with our emotional resilience, and it allows us to really identify what is the necessary time and attention that we need to take in order for us to have the capacity that's necessary for everything that we want to do. When capacity is ignored, even good goals feel like really heavy on us. But when we honor it, when we put it at the forefront of our decisions, then progress feels really steady and we start to have much better flow. So, back when my kids were really little, I did not honor my capacity. I worked essentially every day and I didn't take the extra time to really identify what is it that I need from an energy standpoint, from a mental standpoint. How can I build more resilience so that I can do things in a way that it's going to make sense, that I can actually show up, not just for my kids, but for my business and for my life? And so what usually happens is that we get stuck. We plan for an ideal vision of our life, and instead we're basically just going through the progressions and we're not asking ourselves what we realistically need. And one of the things that I didn't ask myself in that stage was, what season am I in right now? What deserves my best energy? And when we can identify those areas that absolutely need to be taken care of in those moments, it helps us to prioritize what is essential now. So here's what I think that we all should be thinking about: fewer priorities. The less priorities, the better. So, fewer priorities means identifying less things that you are focused on in this specific season. It doesn't have to mean that over the course of your life that all of these things that you have written down as far as your goals are not important, but we do need to identify this season. What is essential right now? Even over the course of the next month. And then what white space do you have built out around you so that you can really truly be free of the noise, of the chaos? I also like to look at stronger boundaries, having the boundaries that are going to prevent you from bringing more and more and more overwhelm into your life. Make those clear and specific. And then finally, the systems that you have in place are going to be essential to growth and expansion. And if we don't have those clear, then again, we're just going to be floundering and giving our energy away to everything else that comes our way. So, I want to talk about how plans become sustainable. I'm going to give you a practical capacity check so that you can really look in, lean into yourself, lean into all of the actions that you're taking on a daily basis. And it's going to help you to have a quick way to assess capacity before you plan anything for 2026. So, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what consistently drains me? What is it that's basically taking everything out of me on a daily basis? Does that need to be outsourced? Do I need more support on my team? Do I need to put this on the back burner for this specific period of time? And then, secondly, what restores me the fastest? What is the thing that I need in order to get my energy back as quick as possible? And sometimes that means grabbing some water, grabbing something to eat. Sometimes we forget to eat, right? Taking the time to separate yourself from the to-do list and taking a step back. And then, where do I need more margin? What area might be lacking so that I need the extra 5 minutes. I need an extra 10 minutes to reset my plan of action so that I can truly pour into the things that I'm saying yes to. The answers tell you exactly where your plan needs adjustment. When you can answer these questions from your heart and from complete honesty, you're going to be able to shift from just hustling to more effective leadership, more effective strategy. And at the end of the day, shifting from hustle to strategy requires leadership. It takes time, it takes mental bandwidth. But what it's going to do is allow you to go from being super duper chaotic to being so much more clear so that you know exactly what you need to do as far as your boundaries are concerned. Your boundaries are going to be the thing that basically protects you from being so incredibly burned out. And just remember that consistency over intensity really matters. So if you are consistent but not prioritizing every single thing in this day, then that intensity is going to also diminish. You have to be able to identify the things that are most important today. And I do this every day with myself, with my clients. There's a lot of things that seem important and are important, but they don't have to be done today. So you're not stepping back, you're building in a smarter way that you can perform at a higher level. And you're essentially refining all of the steps that you are taking so that you ultimately can achieve more. So as you are thinking about 2026, I want you to pause and ask yourself this question. Does the way I'm planning actually support the life that I want to live? And when I'm working with my clients, I tell them to sit down and write down the one thing right now in this time. What's the one thing that you need to remove from this schedule, from this to-do list? And it doesn't mean that you're not going to do it at some point, but right now. Okay, because it's all about prioritizing. Also, what is the one boundary you need to strengthen? How can you make that stronger? What can you be further committed to? And that's how your capacity gets honored. That's how you get honored to save your energy. And that's how the momentum lasts. 2026 becomes different because you made a decision to lead better, not to do more. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dreaming Night Build today, my friends. I hope that you'll subscribe to us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.